All right. What's going on, everyone? Aaron here, Clean Cuts Lawn Care. It is Tuesday morning. So this week, it's going to be a mixture of mowing and curb appeal services. The lawns are not growing heavily right now, but they're also calling for a lot of rain this week. I bought us these uniforms before the season started. I've worn them on several occasions. We haven't worn them as a team yet. Both myself, Robbie, and Vicky have the same uniforms. We'll mix them in throughout the season. They're just plain Wrangler button-ups with the pockets. We don't have anything on them right now. And to be honest, I don't plan on putting anything on them. So today is going to be strictly curb appeal services. That's why I'm going to make a video of it, just to kind of show a little bit about what I do while we're doing curb appeal services. You know, every house is different, so you're going to do something different. But the biggest, easiest way to do it is if you have front beds at the property that have weeds growing in them. Because remember, you want to spend the same amount of time doing curb appeal services that you would do mowing. So now sometimes maybe you have a shrub in the front that needs trimmed, but you don't want to start trimming a huge row of shrubs, because that's going to take you much longer than you would spend mowing. You know what I mean? That's something you want to do for a separate service. All right, so I got 2 bottles. This is what I use, Spectracide. Got 2 bottles of it. Now what you're actually supposed to do with this is, the way it is, you're just supposed to mix 5 ounces with 1 gallon of water, and up top here it has a measuring cup up here. Plus I got a chainsaw because I have a tree trimming job lined up for next Monday. So, but what I've been doing, I tested it out last year and it worked. I actually, cause these bottles are about $16 a bottle. What I did last year was I cut those bottles in half. Oh, I also, in case houses don't have water faucets on, I bring water, and then wherever I can, I refill them. So what I've been doing, I tested it out last year, I cut that bottle in half. So I take an empty bottle, I dump half of it into the empty bottle, and then I fill both bottles up with water, the remaining half with water. Then I cut it 5 ounces to 1 gallon of water. We tested it out once last year during a curb appeal week. We came back the following week. Anything we sprayed was dead and down. So it worked. Gotta be real careful because of rocks and stuff too when you do this. right, see? So, I mean, look how that looked before I got here. That whole bed area. It was terrible. Took me 2 minutes. I'm still gonna put it down. It'll still work. This stuff is rainproof in 15 minutes. Okay, we're rolling. Now, this actually took me a few more minutes than it normally does to mow, but it's fine. Whew. No big deal. All right, so for anyone wondering, if you go and start doing your curb appeal services to keep the money coming in, don't think you're taking a break from mowing. That's not the case. I'll tell you right now, curb appeal sucks. We hate it when we do it, but you know, like right now, they're calling for a lot of rain this week. The lawns aren't growing like crazy. Typically, if you're doing per service mowing service, and you're allowing your customers to tell you to skip the lawns and stuff like that, a week like this is when they're going to start calling you, just saying, hey, don't, you know, my grass didn't grow, there's calling for rain, let's just wait till next week. And now you're making no money. So this is a way to continue that service and make money, but don't think of it as a break, because it's not. You know, you're going to spend all day, sometimes all week, doing curb appeal. You're pulling weeds, you're maybe you're trimming bushes and you're cleaning it up, and you're trying to work as fast as possible. You're sweating your ass off. Curb appeal can be very hard work. Now, one like that was fairly simple, but it's not going to be like that all day. So don't think you're taking a break. You're going to work your ass off, that's for certain. You're gonna be down on your knees pulling weeds, and it's not a break. I know one time last year we went to the dump 3 times in 1 week for doing curb appeal, and we had the sidewalls on. Okay, so we do this one as often as we can. You can see all this right here. So, like this tall, all this tall grass in here. Gonna try to get some of it out. What I could do, well, not right around the plants, but I could knock some of this down with the trimmer and then spray it, but you got to be real careful
around the plants. That's why I say, you know, you got to be careful with that spray. It's not hard to mess stuff up, kill stuff that you don't want to kill, and get some piles ready. See, look at these big weeds in here. And after a while too, you know what I'm saying, you really start knowing what your customers like and what they don't like. And you know, we've had these customers for a long time, most of them, you know, going on 5 years, some of them for 4 years. Yeah, look how much nicer that bed looks.
All right, so wrap that one up. It looked great. Got that front bed really looking nice for her. So, and here's the thing too, when we switched over to our monthly billing, I did not include curb appeal services. We only included the monthly service price. So with weekly service, of course, but listen, if we get rained out all week, if the lawns aren't growing that week, whatever, I can choose just to not do any services for that week and still get paid that monthly price. However, I'm not that kind of a person. You know, you got to remember, about 80% of our customers, they can't get out there and pull weeds. They can't get out there and trim that small bush on the corner. Most of our customers are elderly people, and you know, stuff like that is putting them at risk. So yes, technically I don't have to do this, but I'm a fair person. I'm not out here to rip anyone off. That monthly service price is just to guarantee us X amount of dollars for that spot that you wanted on our schedule. So like right now, this week, I could not mow this whole week. I have maintenance to do, I have repairs to do, I need to build a third attic section in my shop. I could be doing that, all kinds of stuff. But like I said, I'm not out here to rip anyone off. I'm out here to be paid a fair wage for good quality work. And as the season goes, you see a lot of these things that need done on people's yards. Now, yeah, I could give them a separate price for it and schedule it as a job, and some things we do. But if I'm able to do a good amount of this stuff in, you know, 20 to 25 minutes, then when I have a week of it doesn't really need mowed, we're having some bad weather, etc., why not just do it? You know, that's why I say, for anyone who thinks including curb appeal services, is like a scam. Because I'll tell you what, the first time we talked about and showed curb appeal, I got some pretty shitty messages from people. But when you really look at it and what we're doing, almost everything we're doing would cost these customers a hell of a lot more than that 1 week mowing price if you were to break it down. So that's not the case. This is a really good service, and it really helps these customers out, because if I gave them a separate price for it, it would cost them a lot more, and they know it, they've said it, they appreciate it. So I'm gonna do a quick cleanup like this. Then I gotta blow them off and get whatever I can get like that. Oh, let me see here. Try to get what I can like this too. All right, let's grab the blower. All right, so I was at one of our customers about 2 years ago. A neighbor a few doors down came up, asked for a price for mowing. I gave her the price. She signed up with us. About a month into it, she canceled services. Okay. So last spring, we just started mowing. She comes up to the neighbor's house. Aaron, you know, I would really like to be back on your schedule. You know, I thought I could do it myself. I really can't do it. Blah, blah, blah. So I said, all right, listen. I said, when we accept customers on our mowing route, I said, we expect a whole year from them. Okay. I said, we don't do contracts per se. I said, but we do expect a seasonal commitment. No problem. No, I should have kept you guys for the whole year last year, blah, blah, blah. You know, thank you. I said, okay. Put her back on the schedule. 2 weeks goes by, she cancels. Oh, my relative's gonna do it. So I said, listen, okay, that's fine. I said, but moving forward, she goes, I know, if I need help, you're not gonna help me. I said, that's correct. Now, she had asked about a landscaping job. And then she had, we were supposed to do it like the week before, she rescheduled it. She goes, if I'm able to, you know, if I decide I want that done, I go, no, it's okay. But I said, honestly, you know, I'm not really interested. Okay, so that was over a year ago. I'm up there working today. I see her walking up the street. She comes up to me as if she is making me an offer. She goes, well, you know, I heard that you changed how you price. And I go, why does that matter? She said, well, if you'd be willing to charge me the same thing you used to charge me, I would, you know, I would have you back mowing my lawn. So I said, well, for one, I absolutely would not change the way I charge you. I said, everyone pays by the month and everyone pays more. I raised the prices this year. Our minimum is higher. I said, but secondly, it doesn't even matter. I said, I would not, as I told you last year, I would not put you back on our schedule after you canceled on me the second time. Well, I mean, you mow right here. I don't understand what's the problem. Even if I did cancel, you still come here anyway, blah, 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 blah. No. Okay, you canceled on me once. I let it go. You canceled on me again 2 weeks into it because your relative is going to mow. Absolutely not. I'm never putting you back on my schedule. By the way, drip drop hydrators. I've tried all of them. Drip drop is the only one I enjoy. Obviously, we're not sponsored by them. Watermelon's my favorite. All right, we're gonna be pulling some weeds here. There's quite a bit, so I'm not gonna get through all of it. A lot of this grass I'm just gonna have to kill with a spray. Get what I can out of here. I might just have to spray this stuff because it's not coming out the way I want it to. Yeah, I'm just gonna spray this. These ones come out okay. I don't know. Look at this. This thing is crazy. This grew up into the damn shrub. Holy smokes. You guys know what those are? They're the, I don't know what they're called, but they're the ones that, once they like start to bloom, they get stuck on your pants and stuff. That's what this is. I don't know where it came from. Somewhere under there. It's gonna need some spray in here. It's a lot in here too. Now, even without the spray, look how much better that looks. In 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Now look how rough this bed looks.
Yeah, you can see the stalk of it. All right, so I'm gonna do a little bit of like on that side over there. I'm gonna knock some of that down with a trimmer. A little bit in the driveway. Damn, ran out of string. Gotta be careful around these bushes. Can't just go spraying everywhere. So none of these leaves are actually my customers, but the neighbor will not clean up the property. You know, he leaves all this stuff over here on her side. So even though she don't really care, because it's his, but you know, I want it to look nice.